If you're watching this, your people skills can be improved dramatically. And the fact that you lack excellent people skills means you are hindered in achieving success in life and true happiness. Interacting with other people, knowing how to interact with other people is critical. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionally.
We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
Okay, so now I am Kevin Trudeau, book critic. I am not going to recommend a book today. I'm going to tell you, if you haven't watched the show, about the books that I have recommended, because you haven't read them all anyway. So why recommend another one? Yeah, you can go to the Kevin Trudeau fan club website. Maybe you can pop that email or website on the screen. You can go to the fan club website. We have a recommended book list there. So you can see all the books that I recommend, KevinTrudeauFanClub.com. If you're not a partner in the fan club, go there, become a partner with me. But I have a recommended book list there as well. And somebody, William, we should put up the recommended movie list. So it's on there now. Okay, so everything I just told you, I didn't have to tell you, because you can just go to KevinTrudeauFanClub.com and you can see a button that says, should be able to see the button. You can navigate around, but it should be there. Where you can see all my recommended movies. If you didn't write them all down, you can go there for the movie list and also the book recommendations. There's a lot of book recommendations on my recommended book list on the Kevin Trudeau Fan Club website, but I'm going to tell you the ones that I've recommended so far in this show. All of these can change your life. I was with, I was just talking to a fellow yesterday on the phone, and we were discussing a mutual friend of ours named Dexter Yeager and a couple other guys. And in our day, back in the 60s and the early 70s, there was no audio cassettes for personal development. There was no YouTube. There was no seminars you could go to. The only way you could learn about success, there was 2 ways. Number 1, find a very successful person and observe them, and ideally go to work for them. That way you can see them in real life. So if you could get around a successful person, this was the old master-apprentice method that's been used for thousands of years. So that was the first method. But to find a very successful person was hard. And secondly, how do you get close to this so you can observe and mimic and model success? I just gave you like the keys to the kingdom. Mimic and model, which means duplicate what a successful person is doing. But not just what they're doing. You have to look at somebody who has what you want and has been where you are and duplicate how they think, how they speak, and how they act. So what actions are they taking? What words are they using? How do they talk about things? And how do they think? I guarantee if you just, I've done this before in seminars, where I take a person's basic speech patterns and compare it to somebody who's very successful, and one person will say something like, things never work out for me. And it's just like an automatic. And then the successful person will say, I'm going to figure out how to make this work after he fails. So you have 2 people that both fail at something. One guy says, see, things never work out for me. And the winner says, when he fails, I'm going to figure out how to make this work. And it's a little thing, but that's all the difference. It's the little things that make the difference. We don't buy cars without wheels. You know, I'm going to buy a car. Doesn't have an engine. I'm going to buy. No, it's the little things that make the difference. So books are the second thing that successful people have used to learn secrets of success. And that's, if you had nothing, if you just read some books, you have it all. Today, it's so simple to become successful. We have access to more information than ever before. And people just don't realize what they got in their hands. You don't even know what you have in your hands, the power that you have, the ability that you have. You don't have faith in your own abilities. You don't have faith and belief in your dream. Think about it. And you don't take advantage of all the opportunities that are in front of you because you're too busy playing on social media. You're too busy criticizing, condemning, bitching, whining about everything. You're too busy in your basement playing with whatever on the internet. You're not out there making it happen. You spend too much time watching TV, too much time on the internet watching stupid videos, except this one. Successful people invest their time wisely. So book recommendations that I've given since I've launched the show, these are also at the KevinTrudeauFanClub.com website, but I'll give you a couple of them here, and I'll go through this relatively quickly. The first book I recommended was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's the classic book on how to interact with people. If you don't have people skills, then I can guarantee you, you don't have good people skills. I know that. If you're watching this, let me be nicer to you. If you're watching this, your people skills can be improved dramatically. And the fact that you lack excellent people skills means you are hindered in achieving success in life and true happiness. Interacting with other people, knowing how to interact with other people is critical. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionally. Hey, I've said that a million times, and I know people that have come to my seminars for years and have heard it a million times, and I'm obviously using puffery there, it's probably not a million. And then they come up to me and they don't listen. All they want to do is talk. And it's like one long run-on sentence with a comma and another comma and another comma and a colon and a semicolon. They're just talking, and I was like, time out. You're like a runaway freight train. I mean, you get diarrhea of the mouth. You know, why don't you should take some Pepto-Bismol or something and, run it around your mouth, because it's like, stop. Listen. Why don't you ask a question? Why don't you show genuine concern and interest in somebody else? I don't want to hear your freaking life story and all the dramas and challenges you've had. We all have had problems. We all have challenges. Tell me about your dreams. Tell me about where you're going. Tell me about what's good in life. Show genuine concern and interest in me. Ask me a question. I mean, I don't know much, but you're sitting there driving a 35-year-old broken down AMC Gremlin, and I'm driving around in my Rolls Royce. Maybe if you want to make some money, you might ask me a question. I don't know. That sounds like a dumb idea, right? Why ask somebody who knows something by their results? Oh no, you'd rather just tell me everything you don't know and show me how stupid you are. That makes a lot of sense. Read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you'll understand some basic things. And if you haven't read it, you need to read it. And if you have read it, guess what? You need to read it again. I was talking to a guy about this book. He says, I read that book. I know everything about it. And then he just started talking for the next 15 minutes. I go, time out. Did you read the chapter where it says, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately? Obviously, you don't remember that chapter. Also, you don't remember the chapter that says, everybody's favorite subject is themselves. And if you want to become liked, show genuine concern and interest in others by asking them questions about them and listening instead of talking about yourself. Clearly, you don't remember that chapter, Mr. Diarrhea of the Mouth. So it's a really good book. If you want to make money, you want to succeed, you want to get, hey, do you want people to like you? Read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And not just read it, but apply it. Next is Karmic Management. Spectacular book. If you want to become successful in business, if there's one book you can read, read Karmic Management. And then its subsequent book actually was the predecessor called The Diamond Cutter. But Karmic Management is small, it's short, it's quick, it's to the point. If you want to make money, hey, anybody here want to make money? Okay, I am book expert, book critic. Okay. If you want to make money, read Karmic Management and apply it. If you don't do anything else, it'll work. Next is The Secret, which talks about the law of attraction. It is the easiest book to read. I also recommend watching the video. Next is a little tiny book called It Works, the famous little red book that makes your dreams come true. This will take you 8 minutes to read. No, that's if you read one word at a time really slow. This book will take you less than a couple minutes to read and gives you the absolute simplest recipe to making all your dreams come true. It works. Read it again, read it every morning. If you put that book by your bedstand and before you got out of bed, read that book every morning for a month, your whole life will change. It's called It Works. Next is The Magic of Thinking Big. It was the first positive thinking book I ever got. Guy gave it to me and he said, don't read the whole book. Read the first 2 chapters. First chapter was believe you can succeed and you will. And the next chapter was cure yourself of excuse-itis, the failure disease. I said, I can't read the rest of the book? He says, no, you don't need to. Read the first 2 chapters. I went home, I read the first 2 chapters, and I stayed up, I think until 2 in the morning, and I read the entire book. It blew my mind. The magic of thinking big. And for years, I had printed just the first 2 chapters. And I had thousands of them. And to me, it was my mission in life to help people improve the quality of their life. And I would just pass out these reprints of chapter 1 and chapter 2. It is powerful. And don't read it once. Read chapter 1 and chapter 2 again and again and again and again and again until it becomes part of you. It is the crux of all success. Next is The Go-Getter. The Go-Getter is a book that I also got back in the early 70s. It is a little book. I think it was written in early 1920s. It's the book about how to be a go-getter. And the fact is that go-getters are different than everybody else. They make things happen. I used to interview people before the internet, and I've hired 3,500 people around the world. When I interviewed people, I would say, as part of the interview process, I'd say, go and get a book called The Go-Getter. Read it, and then write me a 1-page letter of why you think you are the go-getter or an example of how you have been the go-getter. Simple enough. That was the instruction. You wouldn't believe the number of people that would call our office and saying, hey, I can't find the book. It's out of print. And we would say, thank you. Since you're obviously not the go-getter, because a go-getter would have found the book, you've just disqualified yourself from being employed by Mr. Kevin Trudeau. Have a nice day, loser. And we didn't say that. It was to let the person know, look, if you want to become successful, you're going to have to be willing to do what the other guy ain't willing to do. You have to make things happen. In life, things have a tendency not to happen. It's up to you to make something happen. This book teaches you what it takes to become a go-getter. It is about a story. It's made up. It's a story about a kid who went to work, and in order to get the job, he was a go-getter. He would not take no for an answer. His motto was, it shall be done. And he was given a task, which was a test, to find a blue vase. And it was a test because it was set up so that he couldn't find the blue vase. It was too hard. This kid gets the blue vase and delivers it. That's a go-getter. A go-getter is somebody who says, I'm going to do it, that's it, period. Because success is a decision away. You make a decision. I remember Zig Ziglar telling me the story about his brother Judge, who was going for a sales championship. And he won the sales championship in his business. Back then it was pot and pans. He had won the championship. And Zig says, but when he won the championship, he didn't talk about the fact that he lost a relative, a very, very close relative during that year. He also didn't talk about the fact that his car broke down and he didn't have the money to get it repaired. He also didn't talk about the fact that he broke his toe and he had to have a boot and he had to walk with crutches. He didn't talk about all the obstacles that happened to him during that year. Because when you have an obstacle happen in your life, you don't change your decision to get to your destination. You just have to change the route in order to get there. And that's what a winner does. That's what a go-getter does. They make a decision, I'm going to be there, that's it, period. And whatever obstacle comes up, they overcome that obstacle. Successful people are not people without problems. They're people who've learned how to overcome their problems. So the go-getter is spectacular. Next is the classic book, Think and Grow Rich, which gives you the basic principle of all success, which is define your dream, which means get a clear picture of exactly what you want and then get a burning desire for its achievement. And the whole book teaches you how to do that. It is the crux. I can give you a list of 100 people. One of the most famous is Bruce Lee, who went from washing pots and pans to becoming one of the highest paid actors in movies. in just a period of a year and a half. And he read the book Think and Grow Rich, and he wrote down exactly what Napoleon Hill said to do in order to define your dream and set a target, writing it down, focusing on its attainment, seeing now you in attainment of what you desire and feeling now as if you are already in possession of what you want, and then releasing an attachment to the outcome. This motivates you to do more than you've ever done to achieve that goal. It is the classic book of all success. Then I recommended The Magic of Believing. The Magic of Believing was the first book that Dexter Yeager ever read. It is the book that many Hollywood celebrities point to and say, this is the one book that I read that made me a Hollywood mogul, that made me famous and made me a superstar and wealthy. It was the book, The Magic of Believing. It was using that technique. It goes back to Phyllis Diller. It goes back to Liberace. It goes back to many of the stars, because this book came out in the 50s. So many of the stars back then, this was a popular book. Now, nobody even knows the book exists. But back then, this was one of the few success books that came out. And the people in Hollywood that became stupidly successful read this book, used the principles in it, and achieved magnificent success. It was really, it explains the law of attraction in a different way. It's called The Magic of Believing. And it talks about how to get the feeling. It's all about the feeling. Seeing yourself in possession of what you want and feeling now as if you're already in its achievement. Next is See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. The classic book of success, which gives you the specifics. How do you set a goal? How do you do it? What's the how? So it is real specific. And it gives you, as he says, a checkup from the neck up. And if you read that book, as Ziglar would say, it will cure you of the deadly disease, hardening of the attitudes. Because he says it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that will determine your altitude in life. It is a classic book, but remember this, for those of you who read it, it is coming from a born-again Baptist Christian man, which is Zig Ziglar. So it's a little bit tough in some areas. Go through that, the classic book on success and attitude, really. And the last book I've recommended last week was Psycho-Cybernetics, but it has to be the original version of Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, not the new version. It's got to be the original version of Psycho-Cybernetics. This talks about self-image like it's never been talked about before. Zig Ziglar, in his book, talks about self-image, and everything in Zig Ziglar's book, See You at the Top, about self-image, came from Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics. So check that out. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this with everyone you know. I'm Kevin Trudeau. Looking forward to seeing you Wednesday, 1 o'clock, Chicago time.